is almost a weekly thing now at schools. And I know you do some consulting with some school departments across the state. What are some things that are the responsibility of the school?
There's only so much everybody can do. You know, we always talk about security or safety as everybody's responsibility. Everybody has to take some ownership into the process. The schools are certainly responsible to make sure they provide a safe environment for the children and the teachers and the people that are going to be there. And they always do that. The reality, though, is if someone truly has something in mind to commit a bad act, it's very hard to predict when they're going to do that and if you can stop that in advance. So you try to put in as many precautions as you can and as many safety nets as you can, and that is a layered approach. Security is built on layers. We take a look at the facility, the outside, and we work our way in. In some instances, we start internally and work our way out. What is the core that we're protecting? A school, we would probably start from an exterior standpoint, looking at the grounds, the building, how we would protect that, how we ensure students and teachers and faculty get from point A to point B. And then once they're inside, designing a plan internally to make sure that they're safe while they're inside. But again, as we've seen, if someone truly has a very negative intent, all too often that shows up when they can, breach one of the security measures.
I want to ask you about a few of these things. First, what do you think of a police officer in a school? And what do you think about cameras in schools?
We'll start with the easier one, in my opinion. I think cameras are a great tool if used properly. I think most people believe that if they put cameras in place, someone's monitoring those cameras at all times. And that's not the intent of why you put cameras up. You put cameras up to give you a feedback, some viewing, if something were to happen. So if I had a critical area, I could go back to that camera, pull that video and be able to look at it and pull it apart and maybe dissect it. A lot of people believe that cameras are put in place and that there's someone magically behind the screen watching those 24 hours a day. And that's not going to happen. That takes a lot of money and a lot of energy to do that. As far as law enforcement in schools, it's really a very mixed topic and it's very emotional for a lot of people. A lot of people truly believe that having an officer or officers in schools in general is a great addition. And then there's those that believe it's a little bit over the top. I'm kind of mixed in the sense that I think there's value in any type of security measure you can put in place. I think it has to be measured. I think you have to look at what the value of that person or that product you're putting in place is going to be and make sure that it's going to fit the needs of that school or that district or that facility for that matter. So I don't think there's a one-stop shopping that we should put police officers in schools. I think there's value, but it also comes at a very high price to put a school resource officer in every school, in every city, in every town.
Yeah. In your opinion, are teachers and faculty prepared for the shootings that we've seen across the country in terms of protecting their children? I mean, we hear some of these incredible stories of heroes stepping up and protecting children, but on a sort of a training way, or are they trained, do you think? So?
Well, since 9/11 and since some of the other shootings, you get to Newtown and Columbine and some of the other ones, teachers today or faculty and staff are more prepared today than they've ever been. Would I like to see more training? I would. Very few organizations, public and or private, spend a lot of money on training. We have a tendency to train once, and we don't have a tendency to retrain. You asked at the opening, what are the things that we can do? And preparedness is it. In being part of being prepared is being trained. You can't expect to train teachers, staff, or any individual once. Law enforcement, for example, trains on events more and more to be prepared for those events if they or should they occur. You look at since Newtown and since Columbine, law enforcement today trains and drills in schools more now than they ever have in their history. And it's unfortunate that it's happened. They're more trained and prepared for it today, but we can't stop there. We're not going to stop somebody from doing a bad act a lot of the times. What we can do is train the people that are going to be the first responders or the people that might be in that situation that deal with it, teachers, faculty, staff, to make sure that God forbid that event happen, they know what to do, where to be, how to secure the children, how to protect themselves, and how to, most importantly, get that notification out to make sure that the people who can respond, that are trained, do respond.